When the lights come on, she's ready to rise. Donnelly steps up with faith in her eyes. Puzzle pieces fitting, stars up in the sky. With every prayer and song, she'll make your spirit fly.
She's got the voice that can heal the soul. Singing, gaming, she's on a roll. Star Wars battles to her prayerful light. Donnelly's shining through the night. Shine on, Donnelly's, you light up the way. Singing, praying, bringing hope today.
From puzzles to the force, you're always on. Donnelly's,
You're our shining song. In the game or the prayer, she's standing tall. With every step, she answers the call. Blessings in her heart, light in her soul. With Donnelly's, we're ready to roll.
raise your hands, feel the groove. With her faith and her love, you can't lose.
From the galaxy far to the prayers so deep, Donnelly's is the joy we keep.
Shine on, Donnelly's, you're the light we need.
With every song and every prayer you lead. From puzzles to the force, you're always on. Donnelly's, you're our shining song. Shine on, Donnelly's. Shine on.
Good morning, and happy Saturday! And guess what? It's actually Saturday today. I'm not saying it's Saturday on a Friday today. How is everybody doing? Starlina, congrats on first, and Soul, congrats on second. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a fantastic Friday. I hope that you guys got a lot done. I know I did. I got my laundry done, got the bedding washed, everything. Had a really good phone call with the person from the digital church, and got the next steps, and we're getting the ball rolling. And then got to be in the nursery for the church marriage event last night. And so got to help watch 2 babies, and it was amazing. Overall, it was amazing. I was exhausted by the end of it, but it was good. It was one of those good exhaustions, you know? Like there's 2 types of exhaustion. The exhaustion that comes from knowing that you did a lot, and you were productive, and that's where that exhaustion comes from. And then there's the exhaustion that just comes from just like overall, you know, mental stuff. You know, here for Spookvember. I like it. Today's the potluck, and how you doing, Lady Foz? I hope you're doing well. Today's the potluck, and I'll let you know personally if the church banter's about protecting you. Sounds good, Starlina. And let's see, I remember you said what you were going to bring, but I'm completely blanking on what you said. I remember you said, I think, yesterday what it was going to be. But you attended a wedding, you'd say it depleted your social batteries considerably for the rest of the weekend, but worth it. Exhausting in a good way, too. Exactly! Because it's one of those things where there's, hey, Mama Belle, good morning! How you doing? There's the exhaustion of productivity and doing things that you enjoy doing, and then there's the exhaustion that comes from, I hated today. And so the exhaustion that's a good way is I was productive, I did a lot of things I enjoyed. And so I'm glad that that's the exhaustion. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's what I'm remembering, is you joking about preparing slicey things, but I could have sworn you said you were bringing something. But I tended to bring to potlucks, I love to bring Little Smokies. Those are delicious. Oh yes, the round table at some point. Yes, that is a good reminder. Thank you. And then let's see. After stream, I'm gonna grab a bite to eat. Today is definitely a hard stop at 11. And that I'll decide closer to time if we're gonna raid or not, but I do need to make sure I leave time for food. And then booking it over to D&D. Thank you, but no thank you, Shane. Met her through our mutual friend, but you'd never met any of her friends outside of the bridal shower. Gotcha! Starlina was the, about the round table, or was that about something else? Oh, food thing. Oh, Little Smokies? Oh, let me introduce you. Yes! Lady Foes, those look so good! Literally exhausted, Mama Belle hung out with Faithful and Soldier and streamed during testimony night, went until 1 a.m. and got up around 6. Farm work starts at 9. Oh my goodness! Okay. Let me see. No, that's not going to be what I want it. That's not going to do what I want it to do. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to open the image in a new tab. And then I am going to turn on display captcha. Bring it to the forefront. Make it smaller so you guys can still see me. That is the Little Smokies. So they're little tiny hot dogs, essentially, with a, put in a barbecue sauce. And they are delicious. They are so good. I highly recommend. They're quick and easy to make. Because all you do is you go to the store, you get your little pack of Little Smokies, or more. Like, more than one pack. Depending on how many you're cooking for, of course. And then you get those in your pot, your cooking pot, and then you put the barbecue sauce in. You drown these things in barbecue sauce, and then heat it up, and then you're good. It is so quick and easy to make, and I love it. I'm glad it was such an amazing night. You're drinking coffee and eating some breakfast bread toasted with butter. Oh yeah. So excited you have so many vases to make bouquets with. I love it. Oh. If we ever met in person, Starlina, you'd definitely want to try that? Yes, and I am so down to make it for you. Add a jelly to the barbecue sauce. Ooh. Wow, That's an idea, Lady Foes. I have never tried that. I have never tried adding jelly to my barbecue sauce. I usually just go with the, okay, so grape jelly specifically. Okay. Because I usually will just, like, drown them in Famous Dave's sweet and zesty sauce. There's one other sauce that I like. I'm blanking on the name right now. But it's one of those ones you can find at your local supermarket. And it's not super spicy because if you know anything about me, you know I don't do a whole lot of spice. So, good morning, Joe boy. Let me get that hydrate for ya. Hope you're doing well. You've never made them yourself, Soul, but you feel like they're a staple at gatherings? Yes, they definitely are a staple from where we live. Little Smokies cubed chicken, tomato paste, rice, Cajun Smokies, or Cajun spices. Why can I... My eyes are like darting everywhere trying to keep up with this. So we're gonna try this from the top. Little Smokies, cubed chicken, tomato paste, rice, Cajun spices, mushrooms. You got yourself some jambalaya. Oh yeah! I'm gonna have to try this grape jelly with the barbecue sauce thing because I love grape jelly and there are certain barbecue sauces that I love. So, you get the best. You get to kind of smush them together and it'll make a big pot of friendship. Those of you who know where that came from, bonus points. Let's see. You made your veggie jambalaya last night? I need to make your veggie jambalaya again at some point because I have not made it since the last time I made it. And I need to make it again because it was so good. I added too much, I think, paprika? Whatever it was, I added too much of one of the spices and it was like really, like, that kicked it up like 2 or 3 notches. But other than that, it was really, really good. I was able to handle it. But knowing that I need to kind of tone down the spice a little bit, and because it was one of those things, I was trying to make it where it was like you could pour it into the measuring spoon, and I didn't realize how fast it would come out of the little spice bottle. And so I'm like, okay, careful. Oh no, there's like 3 times as much. Ooh, okay. Sweet potatoes and green beans, and honey. Okay. Add sweet potatoes, green beans, and honey to jambalaya recipe. There we go. I can attest, this is a fantastic vegetarian jambalaya recipe. It is amazing. We ended up, when we made it, we put in bits of sausage just because we wanted the protein. But other than that, we followed Lady Foe's recipe to pretty much a T, other than the spice incident. But other than that, it was really good. And let's see. Yeah, definitely give it a try once. It is delicious. Lady Foes, feel free to post that recipe in the Discord if you would like. Let's see, what else is there? She says, is beauty all that matters to you? And you say, what else is there? It was dumb, I know. You should write a book. How to offend women in 5 syllables or less. I know. Quote brain. Ooh, a new creamer this morning. What new creamer? Oh, you guys. So since we're on Swan Princess apparently, because my brain brought that quote up, I was drinking some coffee last week, or earlier this week, and my sister was like, I need Swan Princess conspiracy theories while you are on caffeine. And I was like researching, okay, so what are some of these conspiracy theories that could surround Swan Princess? And I was like, oh, what if Odette loved Derek from a very young age, like pretty much right off the bat, like first summer they met, once she was old enough to kind of make those connections, clearly not as a baby. But as they got older, she started to realize, hey, I kind of like this guy. Oh, but he's so immature. And that's where her annoyance comes from. Now, the proof behind this is when she says, when her dad comes up to go get her, when she's like preteenish, she says, I haven't packed or washed my hair, and Father, I get seasick. If she didn't care about him, why would she want to make sure that her hair was washed? Why would she want to make sure that she looked good? Why would she not want to be seasick in front of him? And what if seasick actually was lovesick? So there's my conspiracy theory. Yeah, definitely. Lady Foe sent me the recipe for that vegetarian jambalaya, and we can definitely make that at some point. Okay, so after I can attest, I had said your recipe is so good. We added some sausage to it just because Mom wanted the protein with it. And then, of course, other than the spice incident, we followed your recipe to a T. And you are more than welcome to post that recipe in the Discord. Triple B Mike, hello, how are you, my friend? All the time, God is good. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and the Holy Spirit is our comforter. Amen and amen. Love it. Black Rose, how you doing? Thank you so much for the lurk. Almond cherry macaroni. That sounds like an amazing creamer. That sounds like an absolutely amazing creamer. I agree with Soul. That needs to definitely be a thing in our life. Hope you're doing well, Black Rose. And sounds good, Lady Foes. Ooh, International Delight brand. Found it at Walmart. All right. Soul, whichever one of us makes it to Walmart first, we need to let the other one know. Did we find it? You're gaming, so you lurk, but you're doing well. I'm doing well too. Hope you're enjoying your game time. You gotta love game time, right? Ooh, about to go split some wood for the first time in a while. I love it, Triple B Mike. You guys needing some firewood? Gotta get that firewood going. And you'll post it when you get home? Sounds good, Lady Foes. Sounds good. You've got to weed the garden area so you can lay a gravel path. Nice! Oh, by the way. Oh, thank you for the lurk, Galaxy. You have enough to last 2 winters right now, but you're gonna split more. I love it, because you never know when you're gonna need it. You never know. And I can think of much worse things that can relax you. So you guys know that I was trying my hand last year at raising some succulents. Unfortunately, that ended up not working out. When I was on my vacation, they ended up getting overwatered. They pretty much all died within like a week of us getting home. And so we're gonna look into getting new succulents and we might have a little outdoor front yard garden area. So we're gonna start all over. We're gonna start from scratch and see if we can make a real go of it. Bacon and Biscuit say hi. Hi, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Are you guys being so good? Oh, you and Mama Belle did a stream together for the first time on Grounded. How did that go? Yes. It did succulent. Oh, that's a good one, Starlina. And it was more like I enjoyed doing it, but it was more just, I think what ended up happening, I got a super rare bacon kiss. Oh, that just made my day. Oh, that made my day, buddy. Thank you. Technical difficulties at first, but in the end it was great. That's awesome. I have Grounded kind of on my backlog of games to play, but at some point it might get, checked out, played, but I've got a lot of great plans for upcoming Let's Plays. So, but I'm excited to try my hand at it again. It just is a matter of making sure that I don't overwater them. And I think what also didn't help is I had them more indoor, and while they were next to a window, I don't think they necessarily got enough spotlight or sunlight. So I think having them more outdoors might help, and then if we know that it's gonna rain, for example, we can just move them inside while it does that so they don't get overwatered. But we'll see. We're gonna try and run over to Walmart at some point and get that done. Let's see. What word has one left after two of the letters are removed? Let's see. One left after two letters are removed. No one? But no. Oh, stone. There we go. That makes sense. Because I was thinking, because my brain combined no one into one word. I'm like, no. Mama Belle's got you into riddles now. Ooh, let's see. If I think of a good one, I will let you know. I really did walk into that joke. For sure. So let's see. Do you guys happen to have any prayer requests? Because I would love to pray for you guys. It's getting into that time where we're gonna dive into prayer time. If you guys have any prayer requests, you can either just place them in chat or use that 1 point channel point redeem. Please pray for me. And that lets me know both in the chat, there we go, and in my activity feed, whether you have a prayer request or not. These are available throughout the stream. This is just the time that we've set aside to pray and just be a community together that prays and loves on each other. And then we'll dive in to game time. So while you guys talk about your prayer requests and get those typed in, going forward, we are going to continue through Color X Malice today. We are going to see what we can make, or what progress we can make in Sasazuka's route. Next week, we might have a bonus Tuesday stream, depending on how the day goes. I have that day off work, and so I might stream just depending on what everybody's doing. And then we going forward, starting next week, we're going to finish our Let's Play of Indiana Jones. Then we're gonna jump back into Collar X Malice. Once we finish Collar X Malice and finish all the different routes, that'll be every Friday. So Fridays are gonna be our more story-heavy day. And then Saturdays are going to be our chill, either crochet or stream or simulator streams. So just kind of depending on what I'm feeling at the moment. So Fridays will be our Collar X Malice, Indiana Jones, Jack Jean, anything that we're playing through that's more story heavy. And then Saturdays are going to be our crochet / simulator stream, depending on what we do. So don't you worry, we're gonna keep those crochet streams going. It just depends on kind of what I'm feeling in the moment. We might even do a little bit of both. I might try doing a little bit of both, like spending some time at the beginning of stream crocheting, and then we end with some simulator stuff. That definitely could work, because Lady Bo sent me an amazing looking sweater pattern that I want to try, and so we're gonna definitely try and make our way through that. I think that this will give us a nice variety, a nice balance between the story heavy and the chill, and so yeah. You started a new commission project this week, a gingham blanket for Soldier. Nice! Alright, we've got some prayer requests that came in. Pray that you guys stay awake today and actually get rest tonight. Bacon has been waking us all up before 6 a.m. every day. Oh no! Definitely praying for energy for you guys. Last night triggered some bad memories by someone's experience and you couldn't get it out of your head, so pray that God helps you control your memories for sure. Prayers for healing after the dermatologist. It hasn't been going smoothly as you would like. You got it. Sensory blanket order fell through. You got ghosted by the client. Oh, that is the worst. That is the worst when you are ghosted. Did I ever tell you about the time? So, my friend Kishu convinced me at one point a few years back to sign up for Christian Mingle. Just do the free one for a bit until you meet somebody that you want to chat more with, because they give you a certain amount of free messages. So it was great. It was going well. Guy smiled at me. I smiled back. We started talking in the app, and then we started talking on Facebook. We texted, we video chatted, we met in person. Thought things were going well. And then he got a job on the other side of the country. He pulled the, yeah, we can still be friends even though I'm on the other side of the country. And that ended up not happening. As soon as he moved to the other side of the country, all of a sudden, I was the only one doing all of the reaching out. And so eventually I was like, you know what? If this is what it means to be your friend, is I'm texting you and you're not texting back, whether it's, whether, like, I understand life gets busy. He was probably settling in, things like that. But we're talking, like, months. So eventually I was like, you know what? Ball is in his court. And so I stopped reaching out. And then he reached out to me, like, after a little bit, and the only reason that he reached out was to ask me about a voice actor he knew I was a fan of. And so I'm like, you know what? I honestly haven't talked to him since then, because he showed no interest in even being a friend. He hasn't messaged me. I haven't messaged him. I totally agree. Friends staying in touch and connection should be a two-way street, not one way. Exactly. And like, I get it. I get it. Life gets busy. Life gets busy. So it's more... And I understand that as we get older, we have more things that are filling our time. But at the same time, maybe like at least a weekly or monthly check-in, you know what I mean? Oh, you have a great day, Mama Belle! Exactly, Soul. I completely agree. I was the only one making the effort after a good amount of time. The ball was in his court, and he dropped it. That's all there was to it. And Galaxy, you're on a 5-stream streak! But yeah, all that to say, I've been ghosted before. It is one of the worst feelings ever. So I'm sorry that that happened to you. God bless you guys too, Mama Belle and Mike. Love you both. Been a little sick, which is really not good. I've been throwing up more than usual, and absolutely, Sam. That's why it's here. That's why we're here, is to pray for each other, lift each other up in prayer. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into our prayer time, and then we'll dive into the game. Dear Lord, thank you so much for today, for who you are and how much you love us. I ask that you be with each and every person here. I pray for Mama Belle and Mike, that they're able to get the rest that they need. They're able to get everything done that they want to get done today, that they need to get done. That they have energy for today, and that they can get good rest tonight. I pray that the kids, let them get the sleep that they need, and that the kids themselves get the rest that they need. I ask that you be with Mike and help him keep those painful memories at bay. I ask that whatever it takes for him to just kind of work through those tough memories, whether it's talking it out with somebody, whether it's just spending time in your word and focusing on you, spending time in nature, whatever it may be for him, Lord, that you just help him keep those memories at bay. I pray for Soul, that you be with her dad and just touch and heal him. Give the doctors wisdom to figure out what exactly is going on, Lord. I pray that you help her in class to understand everything that's being taught, and that she's able to heal up quickly from her dermatologist appointment, Lord. I pray for Sam, that she feels better, that she stops throwing up, that she just gets to feeling even ever so slightly better, Lord. I pray for anybody who is stressed out right now. I pray for STL, that you just heal his headaches and give his family and his wife's family comfort, Lord. I ask that you be with his mental health as well, Lord. I know things have been kind of a roller coaster there for him. And for anybody else who's struggling mentally, Lord, that you just give them the tools they need, and that they accept those tools, Lord. I pray for Kishu and her unspoken, Lord, that you just be in that situation and give her the words to say, that it be received well. I pray for Tie-Dye Chef Dave as he works. I pray for Bearded Beowulf, Legend of Zyro, Kishu, Spark. I pray that you touch and heal Spark as well, Lord. I know she's been feeling under the weather. For Captain Slothbeard, Lotu, Pastor Dustin, Catherine Naomi, Wolfler, all the other amazing Christian streamers, Lord. For Zelda the Hobbit and Kyle, Lord, that you just bless their family. Be with Lady Foes and Adafoes, and sweet little baby foes. I ask that you be with each and every one of us, Lord. Keep us close to you, Lord. I ask that you just bless us, keep us close to you, let us feel your presence in a new and mighty way, Lord. Anybody who's struggling physically, whether illness or injury, I ask that you heal them. Anybody who's struggling mentally, I ask that you be with them. I ask that you give us a fun time of fellowship today, and in your name I pray. Amen. No, you don't owe me anything, Sam. I'm happy to. I'm happy to pray for you. So let us pause the music. Let us change the category. Gonna switch to the game screen. And then... Of course! Happy to! Yay! Glad you got home safe to the Bebefos and the Atafos. Hope you guys are doing well. What do you guys have planned today? A bit nervous, I directed my gaze towards the video as it was played.
X デーをお知らせします。
The crime scene I was involved in today. It must be inside an apartment. Well, it's almost nap time. Then we're probably going to do roundtable stuff. Nice! That'll be fun. It's noon, but it seems there's a blackout curtain because the room's pretty dark. The video showed a man that was sitting on a sofa with his upper torso bound with a rope.
私たちは忘れてはならない。罪を生み出した者のことを。
On his chest, there seemed to be a number that looked like it was displayed by a projector. That does kind of look displayed by a projector, for sure.
これがゼロになった時、死刑が執行される。
The clock counted down the seconds.
救済方法はこのカウントダウンがゼロになる前にここに警察がたどり着くこと。
No, it was his life that was counting down.
早く助けて。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。
And video cuts off right there.
さっき小耳に挟んだんだが、予告動画が送られてきてから異例の速さで現場を特定できたらしい。まあ実際は間に合わなかったわけだが、あと10分20分早ければ
That is a good point. What's done is done, but still, that really stings. That man spent the last moments of his life in absolute fear of his impending death. If we just made it to the scene a bit sooner, that person wouldn't have died. I muttered a meaningless offhanded comment, and Sasazuka replied with a scoff.
無理だな。向こうは警察が間に合わないギリギリのタイミングを狙ったんだ。
Yeah, absolutely. What?
星野、被害者のことはどの程度知ってる？
Let's see. Satoru Tanaka, age 34. Unemployed.
確かに今はな。でもその前はあるゲーム会社に勤務して。
Oh, was he working for the game company that had all of the bullies?
被害者は8月の事件の発端になった
Yep.
例のネットゲームの開発者だったんだ。
Putting things together. I was taken aback by this information. An idea popped into my head. This is something that came up while I was gathering information. After I told Yanagi and the others what I'd written on the report I'd made for Investigations HQ, they nodded.
田中は8月の X デー事件の直後に退社してんだよ。引っ越したのもその頃だ。
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of the Loretto Chapel Stairway mystery. But if anybody else has and has any input on it, would love to hear your thoughts.
自分が開発したゲームが原因なら、自分にも被害が及ぶ可能性を考えずにはいられなかったんだろうな。
There we go.
極端に引きこもり、怯えながら暮らしていたのはそれが理由だろう。
Hey there, Cobra. Probably been asking where you've been. Well, you got locked out of your Discord when we reached out to support. You were told to... Oh, wow. Which made you unhappy. Been busy traveling. Oh, let's see. 2, been busy traveling. And then 3, how are Kishu and the boys? And 4, hi. Well, to number 4, hi. To number 3, they are doing overall well. Lots of just busyness. And 2, where have you been traveling to? And 1, I am sorry to hear that you got locked out of your Discord. I've heard of a lot of people getting locked out of their Discords lately. Across the pond. Ooh. I might have to look into that, Sam, and see what there is. And crossing the pond, Cobra, that's cool. But then that makes it seem like... So then today's culprit and the culprit for the X-Day case back in August are the same person? I mean, you're right, Soul, it really isn't. But unfortunately, Discord has a lot of definite support issues. It's a mixture of they have very high security standards in a way, where they ask a lot to prove that you're you, but they also have some that are also not as professional. Hello there at No Skill No Problem. I'm doing well. Hope you are as well. Welcome in, and how did you find the channel? Went on vacay while on holiday from college, went to go see Mrs. for a few days. Oh, very cool. Long story short, back in the 18th century, this French architect built this chapel, and before completing the stairway, he passed away. So the nuns prayed to Saint Joseph to give some way for it to be completed. Or, I'm guessing is what that end should have been. Hey, Dusty, how's it going? So then today's culprit and the culprit for the X-Day case back in August are the same person?
違う。
Sasazuka dismissed my line of reasoning.
その可能性はゼロ。でも、今日の事件の容疑者はもうほぼ絞られてるはずだ。
ああ、おそらく近日中に捕まるな。
What exactly makes you both so completely sure of that? Sasazuka seemed to be annoyed with my inability to follow their conversations. Glad to hear you're hanging in there. What do you have planned today, Dusty?
とりあえずそれはいい。そんなことより。お前どの事件担当するか決めた？
This wasn't something that I could just forget about, I thought to myself. But I decided to obediently answer this time. August.
無理。
What?
迷惑。
What?
他当たれ。以上。
Sasazuka! Can't watch Alabama, so don't know. Gotcha. Hey, sometimes going with the flow can do the trick. As he stared at me, looking blankly, Sasazuka turned his back to me and went to his desk as if the matter was settled. You say that's it, but, Sasazuka? I called out to him, but he didn't respond.
笹塚、
Yanagi had decided he'd seen enough, but Sasazuka ignored him completely as well. Seemingly resigned, Yanagi sighed and looked at me and let out a bitter laugh.
ちょっといいか
I'll get caught up on chat here in just a minute. He pointed over at the door and I left the office as he requested. December 7th incident has been added to materials. Yanagi stood in contrast with my attire, as I was wearing a coat and he was wearing a t-shirt. Aren't you cold?
頭が冷えてちょうどいいくらいだそれに話ならすぐに済む
It's about Sasazuka, right?
あああいつの態度はひどかったが俺もお前が8月をというより笹塚と組むのはあまり進められない
Why do you say that?
笹塚が8月の事件を追っているのはなぜだかわかるか
No?
あれが銃刀法解除のきっかけになった事件だからだ
My heart took a big beat as I heard that.
あいつの目的は銃刀法の復活それだけだ逆に言えばそれ以外はどうでもいい
Oh, no worries at all. Alright, here we go. Let's see. At the end of the 9th day, someone came on a donkey and said they came on the donkey for the stairs and built it in 3 months and disappeared, and when they wanted to pay for it and asked the lumberyard, they said they had no idea as the wood used didn't come from them and no nails were used to secure the stairs. More than 120 experts came in but can't seem to replicate or find a way to rebuild it. And they believe it's Joseph who's mentioned as a carpenter in the books, or maybe Jesus himself might have helped. So yeah, there's still a mystery of that chapel. That's cool. Someone told you the St. Clair, who owns the ABC stations, and the FCC are going after Disney? Hey, there we go. No skill, no problem. I think your message may have been a bit long. I don't see any other messages from you other than the one pinging me. Feel free to try again. So glad you're here. But no worries, Sam, you're not talking too much at all.
おそらくお前のこともだ
Yeah, that does sound really interesting.
多少危険でも躊躇なく利用する
Definitely, I would believe it's at least an angel of some kind, because the Bible does say some have entertained angels without knowing it, and we see examples of that all throughout the Bible. I'd gotten that general idea. I couldn't tell him that he had already said as much to my face, but I made a vague confirmation. Yanagi looked at me with sympathetic eyes.
あいつは悪いやつじゃないただもともと単独行動が身についていて誰かと協力しながらことを進めるのが苦手だそれにさっきの態度もそうだが基本的に能力を認めた相手としかまともに会話もしない
Not to mention that in my case, I'm still a suspicious individual, so this is even more the case, right? Yanagi deliberately chose not to say anything. I think he was being kind. But at that moment, that kindness was actually painful.
とにかくそういうやつだからなあいつと組むのはやめておいた方がいい少なくとも確たる理由が特にないならやめておけその代わりと言ってはなんだがよければ俺の仕事を手伝ってくれないかそうすれば俺も助かるし一石二鳥だろ
Yanagi offered an alternative with a kind smile. It was a generous offer, but... That case was the reason that the Swords and Firearms Control Law was repealed. Yanagi had no hesitation to allow her to work with Enomoto. Thought it may be good for him even. And it was. But with Sasazuka, he's like, yeah, maybe not. Exactly. Exactly, and I love that. I love that overall, Yanagi is looking out for her well-being. You know what I mean? He's like, hey, let's push you towards this guy that I maybe not kind of ship you with, or at least would be a good fit for you personality-wise. You guys could work well together. This guy, on the other hand, he's not exactly the easiest to work with. Your personalities would clash. And that shows just how much of a people reader he is, you know? He knows who would work well together and who wouldn't. Of course, I don't think that solving the August case automatically solves all of Shinjuku's problems. But I want to help Shinjuku return to normal. Solving the August case would be a first big step towards that goal. I also have a particular reason. If Sasazuka is working towards the same goal as I am, then I really can't give up. Yanagi, I'll go talk to Sasazuka once more. I also want to reinstate the weapons ban. I gazed out upon the Shinjuku cityscape from the rooftop, and I confidently declared my intentions. I want to return Shinjuku to the way it used to be. After I pointed my gaze downward once more, Yanagi sighed deeply and was looking like he had given up.
お前がそこまで言うなら、もういい。健闘を祈っておく。
Thank you very much. I was grateful for 2 reasons. Yanagi laughed bitterly. I thought I probably got through to him. I was pretty sure that Yanagi didn't actually need my help.
さて、戻るか。さすがに俺も寒くなってきた。
And you're right, Sam. This does kind of seem Ace Attorney-like, in that we're solving a mystery and we're working together. I like it. In the beginning, at least, it's that he's looking out for whether or not it's a good fit in terms of working well together on the cases. That's true. It's not necessarily a shipping thing. But the more he sees, I love how the more he sees that, you know, you guys work well together, your personalities mesh, the more he's like, yeah, let's keep this thing going and see what happens. But you're right, it is definitely more of a you guys would work well together over here, you guys would not.
ちょっと用があるからコートを引っ掛けたらすぐに出る。その間にゆっくり話してこい。
Okay. Ooh, favorite game. That's a hard one. There we go. After I walked a few steps, I suddenly remembered something. Good morning, Vocal Duck! How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Well, Enomoto is also just fun to pick on, and Yanagi really appreciated the positive influence she had on him. That's true, and so that's kind of where he's like, hey, if she can keep this going, I ship it. You know, like, subconsciously. That may not be his overall reason. But I definitely see the appreciating the positive influence that she had on him. Excuse me, Yanagi? I just remembered something right now. Commissioner Minagishi from Investigations HQ told me to be sure to give my regards to Yanagi and the others. Yanagi immediately made a sour look.
Minagishi-san ka.
I went to take the report to him. Once I told him my name, he seemed to look a bit surprised. Oh, here we go. Tim the Terrible Typist at it again. He seemed to look a bit surprised. Might want to go ahead and lie down then, Sam. You're more than welcome to lurk. You're more than welcome to lurk. Sometimes the blue light from screens can affect you if your head is already hurting. Right? Tim the Terrible Typist was all over this one. Sounds good, Sam. Perhaps he knows about me?
いや、首輪のことならおそらく大丈夫だ。
But
峯岸さんが俺たちのつながりを知っているなら、それはおそらく
oh, Okazaki, that also makes sense. What? I was surprised to hear him casually drop a new name while he chuckles slightly.
あいつは SP として名目上俺たちの警護に当たっていることになっているが、それはあくまで表向きの理由だ。実際のところは監視というのが妥当な線だろうな。
You know that and you don't say anything?
言ったところで仕方ない。あいつも上からの命令で動いてるんだ。どうしようもないだろう。
Yanagi really is kind. I was sure it didn't feel good to be watched, but he wanted to be sure that I knew Okazaki was not the one at fault. I rudely thought that Yanagi must be the type whose kindness got taken advantage of. Minagishi told me too that if something happens to tell him anything, even if it's just something minor. I thought it was strange that someone in the commissioner's position would say something like that to me. Yanagi went deep in thought for a bit. Ooh, different dark chocolates. Wanting to find a brand you really enjoy. At this point, you're down for a more fruity flavor. That makes sense. I love raspberry dark chocolates. Those are mwah. Ooh, and 70%? Nice! Right, Tim? That's twice in the same scene! Somebody needs to, like, go to Tim's cubicle and wherever he is, and just, like, sit there watching as he types and go, yeah, that's wrong. There you go, Tim. Okay, now on to the next one. Okay, there we go. Oh, there's another one. Alright, we got ads starting in a minute. Let's see if we can get this scene to a good point for a pause for ads. What?
Sasazuka じゃないが、俺も使えるものなら利用したいとは思ってる。管理官ともなれば、持っている情報の有益性は桁外れだしな。
That's obviously true, but honestly, I was kind of afraid of him. Not because of his position, but it was like when I talked to Shiraishi. With that all-seeing gaze of his and that expression that didn't show much.
心配するな。
Yanagi comforted me and patted my shoulders.
何もすぐにどうこうする必要はない。むしろ今はなるべく近づくな。
But is that really okay?
首輪のことがあるだろう。
He really does need coffee and a designated proofreader, for sure.
本当に必要に迫られたら、その時はお前に頼むこともあるかもしれない。だが、お前は何よりも自分のことを考えろ。 命がかかってるんだからな。
I mean, Yanagi's right. I understand. As I nodded, Yanagi gave a relieved-looking smile and resumed walking. Alright, we're gonna go into BRB for ads, and then pick right back up in a minute. We will see you guys then. Ah, yes, fruity chocolate is a wonderful, like, chef's kiss combination. For sure. See you guys after ads. Alright, welcome back from ads, everybody. Thank you for sitting through that. After Yanagi came back, he put his jacket and coat on and headed outside, just like he said he would. Sasazuka stared at his PC without even glancing in my direction. Sasazuka. He didn't respond to me. I was positive he could hear me, though. I've still determined that I want to pursue the August case with you. Yanagi told me about you. You're trying to reinstate the weapons ban. I'm trying to achieve the same goal. I want to restore Shinjuku to its normal state. So please, let me be your partner. Please! Even though I knew it was a meaningless gesture, especially since it was being made to someone who faced away from me, I bowed deeply. I feel like an idiot. I don't understand this myself. He would never feel empathy towards me. He was someone who only thought of using me. So then, why was I trying so hard to stay attached to Sasazuka? I wonder if it's just impossible with him. I get the feeling we're gonna have to start off investigating it, like doing our own investigation, prove to him that we're on the same page, and then he'll be like, alright, fine, let's work together. So Beyond Good has a single source Madagascar 70%, and that one's too fruit forward in flavor for you, but at the same time, you tried another 70% by, looks like Mackey's. It just tastes like a cup of hot chocolate. Like, literally just a cup of hot chocolate. Not bad or anything, but I'd really like to taste... You'd like to really taste them beans. Totally understand. I think the Madagascar one might be good for me, but I also tend to like the more strong fruity flavors. We'll have to see, though. I might try it. Ooh, and then the Mackey's one also sounds good because I love me some hot chocolate. I slowly raised my hand. Or my head. Right? Yeah, my head. Sorry. I felt pathetic still seeing his back, but I wasn't planning on giving up. Well then, I guess I'll just go home today. I'll see you tomorrow.
お前に何ができんの？
Sasazuka finally turned around.
もし俺と操作するとして、お前に何ができんの？何の役に立てんの？
Those rapid-fire questions left me stunned, and Sasazuka seized upon my lack of assertiveness and clicked his tongue.
役立たずをそばに置くことに俺はメリットを感じねえし、誰かの手が必要だとも思ってねえ。ま、お前がひたすら俺の命令に従う、ただの駒になるってんなら話は別だけど。
That smirk. Pawn? That suggestion obviously annoyed me. Yeah, that's a good point, Soul. It needs to be sweet enough to offset the bitterness of dark chocolate and be distinctly fruity, but not enough to overpower the chocolate. That is a good point. It's a fine balance. That is true, it can definitely get expensive. I'm asking to work with you as your partner, not your pawn.
あ、そう。だったら言えよ。自分が何の役に立つのか。
That's...
お前さ、もしかしてマゾな
Huh?
の？どうせ柳さんのことだから、俺より自分を手伝いとか言ったんだろう。あの人は優しいからな。その話を蹴ってまでわざわざ俺に頭下げに来るとか意味わかんねえ。罵られるのが好きなら言えよ。泣くまでいじめてやるから。
It's not like that. What an unbelievable misunderstanding. As I shook my head violently in disbelief, Sasazuka sighed.
だったら何なんだよ。
I want to reinstate the swords and firearms control.
それはもう聞いた。くそ、めんどくせえな。なら、とりあえず特技はバカでも一つくらいはあるだろう。言ってみろ。
A strong point. I thought of several that I had, but what was the best way to respond to this? I thought about it and answered carefully. Ooh. The big main reason you can do this is because even though you don't like sweet things, all these bars have less than 10 grams of sugar per serving. Ooh. I feel like cooking might be better. Ooh, chocolate-covered strawberries are really good too. I feel like cooking might be the better answer, because then we could always say like, hey, while we investigate, I can also provide sustenance for us, and we can have homemade donuts rather than having to go out and buy all these donuts. I can make you all the sweet things that you would like. I don't know. Shooting, I don't think would necessarily go far with him, because he's not necessarily somebody who's on the front lines. If this were Enomoto, or somebody who's, you know, more used to being on the front lines, that would be a good one, because it shows that you know how to protect yourself. Whereas with him, with Sasazuka, he strikes me as more of a homebody. He's used to working behind the scenes. And so I feel like cooking would probably be the better answer because he's more used to working behind the scenes, working from home. He's not a frontline person where he necessarily feels like he needs protection, you know? I think we're gonna go with cooking. If this is a bad choice, I will live with that bad choice. I probably should have saved beforehand, but if I had to pick a skill, then I'd say my cooking.
Huh?
Sasazuka's jaw dropped for a second. My parents taught me, and I've been cooking for myself since I moved to Shinjuku, so I've gotten pretty good at cooking.
お前バカなの？
He asked this with a straight face. I'm very serious.
どこがだよ。それの何が捜査の役に立つって？
I glanced at Sasazuka's desk. Empty cup noodle containers and convenience store bento boxes were strewn about. I could bring you food. Actually, this diet is probably bad for you.
いらねえし、そういうの求めてね。
I knew he'd say that. I knew that's how this would end. Great, I chose poorly because I thought I could get to his heart through his stomach. I just wanted to say something unexpected. He mocked me as I anticipated, but perhaps because I said something unexpected, it felt like Sasazuka's rough edges had dulled.
真面目に答えろよ、このバカ猫。それ以外ねえなら、マジ問答無用で放り出す。
I got excellent scores in marksmanship. As I let that fact slip out in a panic, for some reason Sasazuka eyed me intently.
撃ったことあんの？人間。
No, not yet, but
だったら、
but I am prepared to. I asserted myself desperately in an attempt to silence any attempts at mockery. I've never used a gun in the line of duty. I'm also not entirely certain that I could until I'm actually in that situation. But if that time comes, I train daily so I won't regret anything. If my skills are poor, I might kill someone. A gun is a deadly weapon. It's not something that everyone should have. I dislike the way people in Shinjuku now, who without any training are all armed with guns. Sasazuka remained silent. I didn't say anything further. I vaguely realized that if I gave in to the pressure here, it'd be all over. I wondered how much time had passed since we'd just sat here, glaring. Sasazuka eventually broke the silence.
多少銃が使える程度じゃ、俺の役には立たねえ。どう見積もっても、せいぜい桜川から情報を引き出してくる駒程度だ。
What?
諦めて柳さんあたりにくっついてろ。峰夫のバカでもいい。とにかく俺以外。以上。
Hold it right there. I've had enough of your that's alls. I'm not going to give up. If you won't listen today, then I'll come back.
はあ？普通に迷惑。
I'll keep returning, and I'll keep asking.
迷惑だっつってんだろ。
And I told you that I'm definitely not giving up. Now it was just a battle of wills.
しつこいんだよ。
It'll take more than that look to make me yield. There were some things that I cannot bend. I was literally putting my life on the line. Sasazuka looked clearly irritated, seeing all the determination flowing through my body. Or so I thought. He suddenly flashed a grin.
わかった。ならテストしてやるよ。合格したら少しは認めてやってもいい。
Huh?
さっき柳さんと俺が今日の事件の犯人をじきに捕まるって言ったの覚えてるか？
Ah, yes.
まずはそれがなぜかを考えろ。そしてそれを踏まえた上で X レイ事件全体についてある特徴を見つけろ。
Common thread?
ヒントはやらねえ。この程度のことにも自分で気づけない脳なしに用ねえから。分かったらもう帰れ。邪魔。
With that, Sasazuka turned his back on me for good, and I started to think a bit. He probably thinks that he figured out the perfect gimmick to chase me away. But conversely, this was my chance. Alright, this one I'm gonna have to really think about.
基本的に能力を認めた相手としかまともに会話もしない。
Besides, like people had said, he generally wouldn't hold a proper conversation with anyone if he doesn't acknowledge their skill. If he doesn't, then I'd just be a gopher. I don't want that. I understand. It may not have influenced the trust significantly, but cooking was actually the correct answer. I chose wisely. I can get to his heart through his stomach. It would be remiss of me not to say it. Donna chose wisely. I'm so glad. I was so worried I was gonna get the tragic ending. But ooh, getting chocolates in chip form. That sounds cool. That's all I needed to say then. As I stared at his silent back for a bit, I left the agency for the night. As soon as I stepped outside, Okazaki appeared out of nowhere and approached me.
また依頼の相談に来てたの？もう夜も遅いし、送っていこうか。
Yes, please. He's the one who offered, but he seemed surprised that I immediately agreed. Would it be troublesome for you?
そうじゃないけど、てっきり断られるかと思ってたから。猫さん遠慮深いし。
Please stop calling me that from now on. I'm Officer Ichika Hoshino of the SRCPO. But you know that, right? Okazaki flashed a slightly worried grin.
なら、今度からはイチカちゃんって呼ぶよ。それでいい？
Yes. Okazaki didn't agree or disagree. Despite his nonchalance, I definitely couldn't let my guard down around him. In fact, his type might be the most skilled. What's so funny? Okazaki saw me looking serious and was cheerily preparing to ask me questions.
ねえ、やっぱり君も彼らと一緒に X デー事件を追ってるの？
I really have to keep my guard up. Tragic ending just from that? I'm honestly not too sure what the margin for error is, but I think there's a small one. Okay, good, because I'm not necessarily thinking just from that, but the fact that that would kind of gauge how I would gauge what answer would be correct from here on out. And so knowing that most of the time, Sasazuka is geared by food, motivated by food, that definitely helps get into his character, especially early game. And as we learn more about him, or I guess early route, and so knowing that early route, it can affect how I answer as far as getting to know him and things like that. So I was hoping that getting to his heart through his stomach was the correct answer, because it would prove that I was on the right track in getting to know him. You already know the answer, don't you?
とりあえず帰ろっか。
I started walking, feeling unsatisfied as he just dropped the subject. Okazaki continued making small talk with his usual air as if nothing happened. Confronting him only made me feel perplexed. Maybe it was a bad idea to say that I wanted to be walked home. But I wanted to snap back a bit. Internally, I laughed at my competitive streak.
だよね、いちかちゃん。
Huh? Ah, yes. Yes, it is. The cat and mouse conversation continued until we reached the house. Well, I'm surprisingly off to a better start with Sasazuka than I was with Enomoto, it seems. Hey, there we go. That is kind of amusing because I love Enomoto. I love Enomoto so much. He is definitely one of, like, S tier. Definitely S tier. Right up there with Yanagi as far as best boy material. And I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to walk me back.
どういたしまして。俺は普通に楽しんじゃったから気にしなくていいよ。
Smiling. We were obviously sizing each other up, and he showed off the smile. He was really formidable. Alright then, if you'll excuse me. I didn't have the energy to keep this up, so I turned my back to him.
無茶はしないようにね。危ない時は俺を頼って。
Huh? After he says that, Okazaki smiled wryly.
なんとなく君、
There we go.
すごく危なっ
Sorry
か
about
しく
the
見え
burp
るから
ASMR. Does that mean... I hesitated a bit and pushed forward. Does that mean I'm also an important target? Okazaki opened his eyes a bit, as if I'd caught him off guard.
違うよ。俺の市場。
He displayed his trademark soft smile. I said goodbye as I watched Okazaki's back stroll off, still feeling confused by his parting comment to me. I'm home. Ooh, stretch, stretchy stretch. Thank you, vocal duck. There we go. Get a good stretch going. Perfect. And a hydration. It's all good. It's all good. Consider it repaying the one that I refunded your points for. Huh? Kazuki isn't home yet. I checked my cell phone, but he hadn't called. Worried and annoyed, I started typing a text. Where are you? Come home soon. After I took off my shoes and hung my coat on a hanger, I finally received a text reply from Kazuki. Akito's house. I'm staying over. As someone else's house? So suddenly? Tim. Buddy. Buddy. What's going on here, bud? What's going on here, bud? At someone else's house? So suddenly? Yep, exactly. Oh, Tim, get some sleep. I was relieved to know where he was, but that just made me sigh because of a different problem. I'd like to meet them at their place, so please give me their contact info. His response was quick. That's not necessary. Jeez. Kazuki isn't here, so I don't need to make dinner. I'm just going to take a shower and get to sleep. So much happened today. Meeting Sakuragawa, the latest X-Day incident, Minagishi's cryptic and disturbing words, also Sasazuka's test. My head feels like it's going to explode. I sighed heavily as I stripped off my clothes and prepared for the shower. I felt startled when my fingertip touched something cold as I was undoing my buttons. This collar has taken control of my life. Even right now, at that moment, it exerted control over my actions. That fact made my skin crawl. I can't say that I'm not afraid. I'd forget temporarily when I'm preoccupied. But when things slow down, I couldn't help but have thoughts of my ever-approaching death. That's why I have to give it my all. Right? Tim also needs a stretch and a hydrate. I looked away from the mirror and headed into the hot shower. That's a good point. That is a good point. How does this collar that has communication capabilities, how does it protect all the technology inside it when it gets wet? Because all of these victims would need to do like bath, shower, etc. So they had to have made it in such a way that the technology inside it would not be affected by water. That is an interesting point that I had not considered until now. Yeah, this should be good. Since I'd woken up earlier than usual, I was diligently working on making today's bento. No matter how busy life got, I tried to make sure I cooked for myself. It calmed me down, and I'd also get good food as a result. I think about the process and the work. I visualize the combination of the ingredients and seasonings and the completed dish. That whole process is really fun for me. And at least Kazuki eats the bento box that I make for him. He never said anything in particular about it, but whenever I saw a lunchbox that came back empty, I felt a bit relieved. That was probably especially true right now because our relationship was a bit strained. Today's bento had Kazuki's favorite food. It was grilled pork marinated in miso. The key to the dish is grated apples. The acidity tenderizes the meat so it soaks up the marinade. It's actually a popular menu item back at my parents' inn. Oh, I just had a thought. Sakuragawa likes meat, right? Forensics must have worked all night because of yesterday's incident. Maybe I'll take some for her too. I wondered if that would make her suspicious. Simply wanting her to give my delicious cooking a try was a perfectly normal motivation for doing so, but maybe I should make it just in case. If she gave it back to me, then I could just have Sayaki eat it or something. After I settled upon my decision, I began to prepare enough meat for 3 servings. By the time Kazuki came into the living room, breakfast and the bento were already finished. You got back early in the morning, right? Did you get enough sleep?
どうでもいいだろ
Although it's common now, I sighed when Kazuki disgustedly clicked his tongue upon seeing me. Are you sure you're not causing trouble for Akito's family? We have to properly thank them later. He completely ignored me. If I pushed further, it would become an argument. When I met Akito next time, I would be sure to thank him. You had the same questions the first time you played, but with the technology that went into it to begin with, I'm just going to assume Adonis took such things into consideration so that my suspension of disbelief remains intact. There we go. Breakfast is ready. Just take a seat and wait. As the conversation reached its abrupt death, I recalled the conversation that I had with Sasazuka last night. I had slightly puzzled feelings as I served the rice and miso soup. After I got dressed and went to work, I immediately headed to forensics. But Sakuragawa was out taking a nap. She must be exhausted. After someone told me where her desk was, I left her a note and the bento I made for her, and immediately went back to my desk. There was an official announcement on the news this morning which stated that yesterday's incident was related to X Day. It spurred a lot of calls that morning. Are you alright, Mochida?
まあ仮眠はちゃんと取ったからな。なんとかなるさ。
Bags under his eyes. He doesn't look like he slept much. I tried to ease his weariness by dealing with as many of the constantly ringing phones as was humanly possible. Yes, you have reached the SRCPO. This is Hoshino speaking. What? After I finished up a phone conversation, I noticed that the hallway was bustling.
おい、動画サイトだ。X デー事件の動画が上がってる。
Huh? Once I heard those words, I reflexively began typing on the keyboard.
X で再生の日まであと23日。
Is this a park somewhere? It showed a fire near a public restroom.
過剰な愛の押し付けは時に狂気となります。それが妄想による愛ならなおさらです。
This voice is pretty creepy.
世ごと狂気で脅され怯える女性がいても警察は事件が起きていないからと見て見ぬふり。
What does it mean? Something stuck in a corner of my mind. Although the voice was altered, the voice's cruelness comes through clearly.
多くの女性を恐怖に陥れた輩にアドニスが裁きの鉄槌を下します。
Oh. So it sounds to me like Adonis is run by women who haven't been or haven't felt listened to by the police. A dark figure was visible in the roaring flames. It really is the warble that does it. It really is. Could that be? And video ends.
通報が相次いでる。手遅れだろうな。昨日と同様、特防にも応援要請が来てる。星野、お前はここで待機だ。
Huh? But
こっちはこっちで人手がいるからな。
understood. Mochida patted my shoulder and said he was relying on me and left immediately. Maybe. I took out my cell phone from my chest pocket. The sender of the text was just as I expected. Are you going to the crime scene? I replied immediately. No, I'm on standby. Then response also came quickly. Tim. My buddy. My friend. Go home. Get some sleep. Grab some caffeine after you wake up. Get a good full 8 hours of sleep. You're good, buddy. You're good. We can have somebody take over if you need. Okay, fine. I wonder if he wanted me to go to the crime scene. While I stared at the extremely terse text, the phones immediately started ringing. Yes, you have reached the SRCPO. After a little past noon, I was finally given a break. Because these incidents happened on consecutive days, a lot of residents were hysterical, and dealing with them burned me out. Oh, I'm starving. I usually ate my lunch at my desk, but right now, I wanted to go outside. I wasn't going to make it through the day if I didn't try and change up my mood a bit. It's cold. I don't really want to eat on the roof in a coat. I just happened to coincidentally bump into Sakuragawa. Thank you for all your hard work. After saying that, I saw her hands holding what was unmistakably the bento box I'd made, so my shoulders tensed up for a moment. Maybe she hated it? Yes. You've lost count of the typos this time around. Tim really fell off the wagon this route. He really did. He really did. Like, there's so many times where I'm just like, buddy, get sleep, get coffee, something. What? Without understanding what's going on, I began walking to keep up with as Sakuragawa grabbed my hand and led the way. Ooh. I'd been led to field support, also known as Shiraishi's base. As my eyes began to involuntarily wander, Mukai smiled happily. Welcome to the first meeting of the Shiraishi Hate Club. Right, Tim, please take better care of yourself. Exactly. What is... Mukai walked over toward the pot with the peppy-looking gate. Sakuragawa pulled me over, and I sat on a chair in the lounge area. Let me guess, you eat lunch with Mukai here every day? This seems like an unexpected friendship. They gave off completely different vibes, but perhaps they had a common interest. That's good. I was worried that you might not enjoy it, but I was also pretty proud of today's bento. The meetings usually take place at a bar for a reason. Poor Eriko is not equipped for this right now. That's totally fair. That is totally fair. No, don't expect too much. Mukai sat down on the chair and poured us each a serving of tea. It seemed that she'd ordered food. A multi-tiered lunchbox sat on the table. My heart raced as I focused on Sakuragawa hurriedly unwrapping the bento I made next to me.
お、肉だ。わかってんじゃん。
It's miso marinated grilled pork. I hope you like it.
いただきます。
That was fast. Sakuragawa threw a piece of meat into her mouth, not leaving me any time to brace my feelings. Then,
何これ、うまっ。
she looked at me with bulging eyes.
冷えてんのに肉が柔らかい。何よりこの味噌やばい。超うまい。
Thank you. I felt deeply relieved, and I was just about to unwrap my own lunchbox when she seemed to be glancing this way nervously. My eyes met with Mukai's. Mukai, would you like to try some of the pork too?
いいんですの？でしたらいっそ私の分と交換いたしません？
Huh? That's fine, but
うなぎはお嫌い？ここのは美味しいと評判なんですよ。
eel? That's too expensive to trade for something like my bento.
交換してやるなよ。恥ずかしながら、私料理の類があまり得意ではなくて、いつも出前やデパ地下のお弁当で済ませることが多いんです。
The embarrassed look that Mukai had as she said that looked kind of cute, and I couldn't suppress my laughter. Then I will gladly trade lunches with you. I traded my lunch for hers, and we focused on eating for a while.
それにしても、いつものこととはいえ、桜川さんには恐れ入ります。
Mukai sipped her lunchtime tea and made offhanded remarks.
つい先ほどまで事件現場にいた方が平気でお肉を召し上がるんですものね。
Oh, that's true. I heard today's incident was an arson murder. The shadow in the fire from the video. I cupped my mouth reflexively.
なデリケートな神経で鑑識なんかやってられっかっての。
Sakuragawa offered her nonchalant assessment.
仕事は仕事。あんただってそうでしょ、向井さん。まあ、否定はしませんわ。
The two of them shared a cheerful laugh together that made things feel pretty bright. They're pretty cool. Both as a citizen and as a police officer, I felt like I was pretty far away from being on the same level as they were.
しかし、2日連続で X デー事件とはね。
Sakuragawa sighed dejectedly.
さすがに二徹はきついよな。仮眠室のベッド、私には硬すぎてさ。
You must be very busy.
まあ仕方ない。事件がこっちの都合に合わせてくれるわけじゃないしね。それに、今回は割とさっさと決着つきそうだって話だし。
What?
これは現場で小耳に挟んだんだけど。
As I made an involuntary reaction, Sakuragawa gave a small, Tim, sleep. Sakuragawa gave me a small wink at me, as if to send me a secret code message. What Tim meant to say was, Sakuragawa gave me a small wink as if to send me a secret code message.
昨日の事件の容疑者はもうほぼ断定されてて、今日明日にも任意同行されるらしいよ。
When required during an investigation, the police can ask for a suspect to voluntarily accompany them to the police station. Because it's voluntary, the suspect is allowed to refuse and leave.
一家の人たちの話じゃ、今日の事件もこの分だと早めに的は絞れそうだって。
Did they find evidence or something?
ま、それなりに採取はしてきたけど、私はただその場で聞いたことを言ってるだけだから。
That probably meant that was the limit of what Sakuragawa could tell me. I can't press the matter any further.
どうした向井さん。いえ、そういえば主任も似たようなことを言っておりまして。
Shiraishi?
ええ、憎たらしいことにうすら笑って、もう犯人は決まったようなものだねと。そのくせ理由は絶対に説明しないんです。ええ、分かっています。私が悩むのを見て嘲笑っているのだと。
That sounds like Shiraishi.
落ち着きなよ。いつものことだろ。それでも腹が立つものは立つんです。
I seized upon my opportunity. Did Shiraishi say anything else?
他？
They looked at me as if they wondered why I'd want to know something like that. Then Sakuragawa sent me a lifeboat.
星野も白石さんには思うところがあるらしくてさ。敵の情報は少しでも知りたいんでしょ。まあ、そうだったんですか。
Mukai stares at me with shining bright eyes.
わかります。本当によくわかりますわ。私たち、とても仲良くできそうですわね。
Thank you?
そうですね。3人で立ち向かえば、主任の1人や2人、いつかきっとギャフンと言わせられます。向井さん、それよりさっきの話。え？ああ、そうでしたね。他にというなら、そうですね。彼らは捨て駒だと言っていたような気がします。
Makes sense. Sacrificial pawns?
何がどうしてそうなるのか、残念ながら私には理解が及びませんでしたけれど。まあまあ、また今度ゆっくり話聞くからさ。
Sakuragawa gestured at the clock on the wall. It was time to finish our break. I wanted to get some more details, but it can't be helped. I declined their offer to wash and return the bento boxes and retrieved them.
うまかった。また作ってよ。ご迷惑でなければ、私もぜひ。
Yes, when I make it again, we'll have lunch together. I bowed deeply, then began returning to my desk a step ahead of them.
すまんな。先に上がらせてもらうぞ。
Oh, thank you for all your hard work today. I yelled my goodbyes to Mochida and took a deep breath as I put the phone down. He said he was going to leave work early because he was working late yesterday, but it's already late again. There were more calls today than yesterday. It was so bad, Mochida and the others didn't even have a moment to rest while they compiled their reports. I have to hurry. Impatience kept mounting. X day was steadily approaching. Listening to the residents, calming them. Until recently, those were my duties, but now I have to do whatever I can in order to solve the case. The calls were finally slowing down, so I figured I should combine today's notes with yesterday's. Oh, but before that, I should check in, just in case. I took out my cell phone, hesitated for a bit, and pressed the call button. Ah, hello, this is Hoshino. So should I stop by at the agency this evening? I didn't mean it that way. An incident happened today, too. He didn't even ask whether I had information. That's the low level of expectation that he had of me. I should improve my mood. Now wasn't the time to dwell on petty matters. Besides, as long as I pass Sasazuka's little test, he'll accept me. Yeah, I need to give it my all. I opened up the X-Day case overview on my PC and took a deep breath.
さっき柳さんと俺が今日の事件の犯人をじきに捕まるって言ったのを覚え、まずはそれがなぜかを考えろ。そしてそれを踏まえた上で X レイ事件全体についてある特徴を見つけろ。
Yesterday's shooting incident, then today's arson incident. They seem to have pretty much isolated the suspect for both of them. Yanagi, Sasazuka, Shiraishi, and of course people from the investigation's headquarters have already reached that conclusion. The reason they determined the suspect so fast... I should think about this simply first. What would create similar characteristics? So based on what we know from Enomoto's route, I'm inclined to say previous suspect. Because right now they're not necessarily... Like, there's really no clear motive that's given right now. There's no... Like, other than the fact that they hate the police, we don't know anything about what happened, like, why they're mad at the police, other than the fact that Adonis themselves feel like they are, you know, not getting the justice they want from the police. So, because of that, and we don't know anything about the two victims from this particular case, or from these two incidents, so it makes more sense that it would be a previous suspect, and they would be like, hey, this made us think of you. This sounds like something that's up your alley. This sounds like your MO. So that's why we suspect you. And when we learned from Enomoto's route that they were kind of substitution murders, it makes sense that it would be a previous suspect. Because right now there's really no clear motive behind killing just two random people. Because we don't know who these people are. So therefore, previous suspect. What if they were suspects in previous crimes? It wasn't like the police were simply just folding their arms and passively observing the X-Day cases this whole time. They had a number of valid suspects and narrowed it down to one person of interest. Person of interest. A person who is a target of investigation as someone who is tied to the crime in some way. This could range from having information about the crime or being suspected of committing a crime. Even though there were reasons to doubt the others, they were released because they had watertight alibis. Even if they were released, if the case was unsolved, they wouldn't be left unmarked. Once a person was noted as important, they wouldn't evade an investigation dragnet easily. Especially not in a case of this magnitude. If you were suspected of being remotely tied to X-Day, the police had tabs on you. What if there was someone out of the witnesses that didn't have an alibi for yesterday's or today's incidents? naturally they would be re-examined as a person of interest. The August case was an easy one.
被害者は8月の事件の発端になった例のネットゲームの開発者だったんだよ。
Everyone pretty much agreed that the perp was someone who was harmed by online bullying in some way. Exactly, because we know that the first guy was involved in the making of that game. But we don't know who the victim is in this arson one. So that's, there's really no clear motive behind the arson. Everyone pretty much agreed, yeah. It wouldn't take much time to filter out the people from the witness pool who fit that characteristic. So what about today's arson murder? Oh, that's right. I needed to do more research about today's incident too. Although I saw the video, I was deluged with calls, so I knew nothing about the victims. On top of that, it wasn't confirmed that it was an X-Day incident yet. The video, coin, and the Roman numeral, unless those all matched, we couldn't discount the possibility of a copycat crime. But then, well, I guess the copycat could use a voice changer too. Found it. Online news sites had already put together information on today's incident. The victim recently got out of jail. The charges were stalking and mayhem? If the August case was related to yesterday's incident, maybe today's incident was related to one of the previous X-Day incidents. So the commonality would be the stalking, because there was a stalker in one of the previous ones. Maybe. I cast aside my worries about being too rash and began to search about a certain incident. Here we go! The case in July. It said that it was a stabbing death. In self-defense, but just like today's incident, a stalker was killed. I can't believe that this commonality was so easy to see. The common aspect of the July case and the arson murder from today shared was stalking. The shared aspect between the August case and yesterday's murder was online games and online bullying. I now saw that the two cases were related. Thank you! Look at me with my deductive reasoning! But now the real problem begins. I sigh. Especially in the August case, wouldn't the crimes be committed by the same person? That's what I would assume. Now see, that's where Ichika and I differ. Because the game had a history of online bullying, which means there would have been multiple victims of said bullying. So therefore, it could be very different people who would want to get revenge for the online bullying. But Yanagi and Sasazuka both confirmed that that was not the case, which meant that they already had definitive evidence to make that assertion. Furthermore, they were so sure of this without being part of Investigations HQ. Alright, ads starting in a minute. The excitement from almost unraveling this and the frustration of not knowing the answer intermingled. I'm under the same constraints as they are. I am here at the station, but don't really have access to headquarters. I don't have any investigative experience, so I was at a disadvantage compared to them. But this wasn't an impossible task. As I responded to the occasional reports, I was absorbed with trying to formulate the best hypotheses I could think of. Alright, scene change. We will be right back after the ads.
一体どういうことなのですか?
All right, all right. Welcome back from ads, you guys. Gonna pull the chair up a little closer. So before the ad break, we had the question of what's the meaning of having 2 consecutive incidents?
12月のカウントダウンは一つだったはずです。何のためにあのような。確かにあなたの命令なら執行者は動くでしょう。しかし、いえ、ただ計画が狂うのは気づかせる彼女。星野一花、首輪の実験体のことですか？
Your live experiment.
理由は話していただけないのですね。わかりました。失礼します。
As I worked and thought deeply about the case, night had crept up. I went to the convenience store to buy dinner, and as I was about to return to my desk... So we now have confirmation that there is somebody going a bit rogue related to Adonis. Because if there was only supposed to be one incident, so they're trying to figure out, okay, why are we moving faster? Which means probably that Adonis wants to be like, they claim that it's going to be on one day, but they're wanting to move, somebody wants to move faster. That was also a male voice, so that detracts from my theory earlier that Adonis is all females. There's definitely some females involved, because they said our fellow women. So the voice changer was used on probably a female member, or by a female member of Adonis. We also, that was the same church that Ichika was found in. They want Ichika to notice all the different connections. So they're wanting to do things that she'll notice and put pieces together. So, and then that she is a live experiment, which means they recognize that Ichika probably didn't do anything wrong. They're using her as an experiment for, like, the poison or whatever, like that poison in the collar. They're using her as the test subject for that poison. But we don't know exactly the reason why.
Oh,
suspect. Good theories, yes.
落ち着け。詳しい事情は取り調べ室で聞くと言ってるだろう。
I watched a man with a fiery temperament get surrounded by many investigators and taken away. Was that?
射殺事件の重要参考人らしいぜ。ほら、X デーの。
When I turned around, Sayaki was standing next to me. I hadn't even realized it. He really did get caught. I thought I was in a dream or something, and as I watched the disturbance get shuffled out of my view, I apparently caused Sayaki to worry.
おい、大丈夫か？疲れてんの？
Oh, that's true. Somebody called Zero. Yes. Somebody called Zero gives commands within Adonis. Yes, that's a good point too. Yeah. So we need to keep an eye out for this Zero person. Huh? No?
本当かよ。同期の目をごまかせる。
Kitty! Thank you so much for the raid! How was your stream? I hope you're doing well. You guys, his little kitty is such a sweetheart. If you enjoy little playthroughs of a variety of different games, from Horizon Zero Dawn to all kinds of different chill games, his little kitty is the perfect person for you. Thank you so much for your raid, and good to see you, Lordo and Kitty. Love you both. You guys are awesome. For those of you who may have been lurking in that raid, who don't know who I am, my name is Donna. I'm a Christian, mostly family-friendly variety streamer. We are currently working our way through a mystery. We are trying to solve the X-Day cases, and X-Day is when Adonis is going to exercise and execute judgment on the people of Japan that they feel have committed crimes that have not been dealt with appropriately. And so we're working to solve these cases together with a group of people who are former workers in this police agency and various units within the agency. And currently, we've finished up Route 1, which is Enomoto's route, and we got both the tragic ending and the good ending for that one. So now we are working through Route 2 out of 5. And so we're going to be playing this one kind of off and on for a while. So good to see you guys. We play all kinds of different games, from simulator games to action adventure to mysteries to chill, cozy games to crochet. It's a true variety here, and we're so glad to have you. Marnius, how you doing? How you doing? I'm telling the truth. I was just a bit surprised. Despite my protests, Sayaki continued to eye me suspiciously.
お前、確か明日は非番だろ?
Hey, how's it going, Spawn? Hope you're doing well. What are you up to today? Sorry, I've already made plans tonight. I felt bad for Sayaki, but my brain couldn't handle drinks and conversation right now. Oh, if you're hungry, you can eat this.
おい、星野!
It's almost your birthday! When's your birthday? The 18th. Happy early birthday! So 10 days from now. Let's see, will it be? Alright, so that means that on a week from today, we will sing you happy birthday! But in the meantime, happy early birthday! Do you have any fun plans? After I pushed the plastic bag in my hand to him, I beat a quick retreat? I don't know that I've heard that one. Tim, is that you again? I've not heard that expression, I beat a quick retreat. I'll just apologize to Sayaki later. Anyways, I need to contact him now. After I took out my cell phone, I immediately dashed off a text to Sasazuka. A person of interest was brought in for yesterday's murder. As expected. Oh yeah, as for the test, time's up when the second one is brought in. What? He never told me that before, right? Ooh, you're gonna play Fortnite while Admiral streams, hopefully? Nice! That sounds like a lot of fun. You think that's actually accurate? Okay, just seldom used. Probably not Tim's fault this time. Okay, that's fair. There are a lot of expressions that I'm not familiar with. I would have probably said I made a quick retreat, or I ran off quickly. I just don't know that I would use I beat a quick retreat. But that doesn't mean it's not an accurate saying. You've also got a new dress set on Dreamlight Valley, but you've also got something else to tell me? Tell me, tell me, tell me. The sudden addition of a deadline stunned me. But it wasn't like arguing with Sasazuka was going to do any good. Ooh, a new DLC coming out on the 19th? Sweet! And it has horses? Ooh, that's gonna be so much fun. That's gonna be put into the Simulator Saturday / Sweater Saturday rotation. So all I can do is get moving. I couldn't waste any more time than I had. Or any more time that I had. Yep. Either one works. What should I start with first? I want to see if the coin from the arson this morning matched or not. Maybe Sakuragawa would know? You can't wait for it to come out? That is so exciting. I love horses, so anything with horses automatically piques my interest. Afterwards, I should see if I could get some information out of Shiraishi. So we don't need to go to the firing range or reception. Let's go to field ops.
Ma, Hoshino-san. せっかくいらしてくださったのにすみません。残念なことに、今日は主任がいるんです。
Oh, I should have gone to forensics first. Oh well, I'll go to forensics next. Right? Sounds cozy. Good time of year for it. Exactly. Mukai welcomed me in with an expression that looked like she was at a funeral, and Shiraishi's face popped out from behind her.
俺がいるのは当たり前だと思うんだけど、向井さんは不思議なことを言うね。
The dress that you got has some cute antlers to wear, a dress, a jacket, some pants, and some winter boots. Oh, that sounds so cute. Feel free to post some photos of it. Would love to see it. Right? Unfortunately, the director is in. Exactly. Yes. I nodded without hesitation, and Mukai opened her eyes wide as if she'd seen something that was unbelievable.
星野さん、まさかとは思いますが、この人の毒牙にかかったわけでは。
What?
失礼だな。合意の上だよ。
Right? Oh no, he's here. He's doing his job for once. That's not what this is. It's not like that.
ですよね。安心しました。ですが、くれぐれもご用心を。
Hoshino's just like, I literally just have a question for him. Right? I literally just have a question. See if you know anything about the stuff that happened today. Right? She's like, Shiraishi's retirement date cannot come soon enough. I think it's probably because you're always misleading people. I sighed and then got down to business with the smirking Shiraishi. Actually, I have something that I'd like to ask.
何かな?
ああ、そういえば君、笹塚くんからテストされてるんだっけ？
It looked like my situation was common knowledge. Yes, I've been trying to solve it on my own. I'm close, but I'm stuck.
俺が役に立てるかどうかはわからないけど、とりあえず聞いてあげるよ。
So basically, whether or not he gave me hints would depend on his capricious mood. Ooh, in the all games chatter section. Sounds good. Sounds good. I will definitely take a look off stream. Nervously, I mentioned the aspects of the two incidents that I discovered last night. Then Shiraishi smiled faintly and shrugged his shoulders.
そこまで分かっててなんで気づかないかな。君、ちょっと頭が固いんじゃない？
Shiraishi's expression turned to one of boredom, so I simply agreed with him. Probably. That's why I came to talk to you. I heard that, like Yanagi and Sasazuka, you were also saying that the suspect would be apprehended shortly. Additionally, you said that they were a, quote, sacrificial pawn.
へえ、向井さんあたりから聞き出したのかな。なかなかやるね。
His eyes narrowed like the Cheshire Cat's and formed a fascinated arc. Looks like I was successfully able to pique his interest.
捨て駒っていうのはね、そのままの意味だよ。
Nothing was clicking for me yet. Something was still missing. I think that the person of interest brought in today was someone that was a suspect from the past incidents. He had a watertight alibi at the time, but not this time. That's why it was so quick to narrow it down, right?
だからさっきも言ったじゃない。なんでそこまで分かってるのに気づかないの？君さ、そもそも X デー事件がどんなものだったか忘れてない？
What?
動画でもご丁寧に毎回言ってくれてるのにさ、忘れられてるなんてかわいそうにね。
He left me with that in a disinterested sigh, and Shiraishi exited the room as if he had grown tired of playing with the toy. But I was stuck speechless. I didn't even try to stop him. The cases with the connected suspects, sacrificial pawns, the purpose of the X-Day incidents. That's right! The X-Day incidents aren't one man's crimes. Adonis is behind all of them. Although each crime is done by a different person, one organization is behind them all. So individuals with motive may have perfect alibis, but still be tied to the crimes. If... The puzzle pieces scattered in my head were starting to form a picture now. Maybe that's what's going on here. My hands trembled and I whipped out my cell phone. I typed a quick text. I know the answer. I'll head to the agency tonight. There was no response, but that didn't matter to me. I just wanted to meet with Sasazuka as soon as possible and learn if this was the right answer or not. So now we need to go to forensics. After I arrived at the forensics department, I happened to lock eyes with Sakuragawa. She left her desk immediately and waved as she walked towards me. Sorry, you're still working. Actually... So the coin matched. I see. I thanked Sakuragawa as she returned to her desk, and I left the room. I left the area. December 8th incident has been added to materials. Many emotions mixed together, but I quickly headed back to my department. It was late and there were fewer reports, so I got ready to leave the station. The dress is what got you to buy the bundle because it's a ball gown. Ooh! Ball gowns are so pretty. I'm usually not the kind to wear a dress, but ball gowns just look so lovely. They are like aesthetically pleasing. I should probably call just in case. Ah, Sasazuka. It's Hoshino. I was thinking of heading to the agency right... You don't usually wear long dresses in-game, but you do like the dresses. That makes sense. That makes sense. The way they design them is just so pretty. What? But the deadline... Sasazuka, dude. Sheesh, what a self-centered jerk. Knowing Sasazuka, even if I assert myself and go, I'm sure he won't listen to me. I made a deep sigh and decided to give up and go home. There's much fewer people around here now. Before the quarantine, there would be people out even in the middle of the night. But right now, Shinjuku was eerily quiet. Before, there would be kids playing in that park over there. The children's park in the corner of my eye seems out of place. Speaking of which, I used to play in parks like that with Kazuki when we were small. I felt a strange sense of nostalgia, so I'm gonna go to the park. I think I kind of want to go to the park. Not necessarily pass through, but I want to let her have her moment of nostalgia. Ooh, your favorite is the Daisy Duck level 10 dress because it's purple with pink? Oh, that sounds right up my alley. Yeah, let's let her have her moment of nostalgia and go to the park. For some reason, I decided to stop by the park. The old and rusted playground equipment seemed sad. I thought about riding the swings, but then I spotted a silhouette at the corner of the bench. Okazaki? Oh, a young girl. What is she doing out at this hour? If she's a minor, maybe she ran away from home. I couldn't just let her sit out here all alone, so I approached her. She's scared. Oh, sorry for surprising you. Are you out this late because something's wrong? I tried to calm her down due to her hostility. She's not being hostile, she's just scared. I crouched down to keep her line of sight. She looked to be about high school age. Do you live close by? Your parents are probably worried about you.
Huh?
Oh, now she's being hostile. Huh? Huh? Her meek way of speaking suddenly became very hostile. But it wasn't just her speech. She got a crazy look on her face, too.
両親が当然それが揃ってて当たり前って口ぶりだな一般的な常識ってやつ
Why do I get the feeling I'm gonna regret going to the park?
その能天気さ羨ましいぜさぞかし恵まれた環境で育ったんだろ
Maybe she doesn't have parents? I'm sorry. That was insensitive of me, but it's really quite dangerous to be walking around here at this hour.
危険か。そうだな。危ないぜ。
Right? It really was. Huh?
俺みたいなやつに声かけちゃ
Uh-oh.
危険だ。
Yep, I'm definitely regretting my life choices right now. Definitely regretting my life choices right now. With mind-bending speed, she extended her hands and grabbed my collar. Gah! And then she starts to strangle me.
苦しいか。苦しいよな。でもお前が悪いんだぜ。
No way! I can't shake her off. Right? Nice sharpened teeth, kid. Yup, something bad is definitely gonna happen in the park. Her thin arms belied her strength. I clawed at her hands to no avail. Let me go!
帰る家があって当たり前。迎えてくれる家族がいて当たり前。そんな当たり前が与えられないやつのことなんて考えたこともねえだろ。
I'm a police officer. If you want to talk, I'll listen.
は
I managed to wring out that cry, but that did not result in her loosening her grip. Rather, she's actually tightening it. Oh, that sound effect. Gah! At this rate, I'll be killed.
何やってんだよ。
Right? No, kill this idiot. Don't talk to her. Drop this fool, right? Like, we can arrest her for assaulting a police officer and assault in general. I was prepared for death when I heard that voice. In my fading consciousness, I opened my eyes and saw a boy who's about the same age as the girl who was attacking me. The moment she saw him, she quickly loosened her grip around my neck.
お前またやめろ。
Okay, so she needs some psychiatric help, definitely. This is not the first time. The chokehold was released and I exhaled deeply, trying to state my body's need for oxygen. Did I survive?
何があったんだ。お前またこんなところに一人で来て。
こいつ
え？
警察だってさ。俺たちを殺しに来たんだよ。
Huh? With my consciousness starting to stabilize, I looked up at the two of them while on the ground. I saw two pairs of eyes that were darker than the abyss.
そうか。それじゃあ仕方ないな。
Who are you? Before I could grasp the situation, another sudden event occurred. I was unable to speak or even fully form a thought. My vision turned red. Only those dark eyes that had given up on the world looked down at me emotionlessly. I died? That happened? That happened. Okay. Now I know. Don't let Ichika go to the park. Don't let her go for the nostalgia. We're gonna just skip all the way through all this stuff. Right? Yeah, and that's why you said to kill that idiot. You're a cop. You either act or you die. Better to be judged by sex and all that. That is a good point. You wanted to warn me to save, but that would have given it away. Yup, that would have. That would have. And now I get to live with those life choices of Ichika dying. Would they have tied that to being an X-Day incident? And now I'm curious if now we're going to have something that happens in that park. Exactly. Because, like, is somebody else gonna go through the park and have that happen to them because they just automatically assume cop, you know? Or they automatically assume evil? Using the buddy system, cop or otherwise, is a good idea. That is true, but I think where my mind went as far as them knowing that she was locked in with the terrorist organization is that they wouldn't have known that because she purposefully keeps the collar hidden. So they wouldn't have known that she was associated with that until she grabbed and went for the collar. So does this girl just automatically assume that anybody that comes by the park is affiliated with Adonis? Exactly. Terrorist or not, ask questions now, later, survive now. Exactly, Vocal Duck. A 1000%. Bum 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 bum. Going through all the things. We've got about 28-ish minutes. You're excited for the horse DLC? You plan on naming your horse Oreo and making her an Appaloosa. That's so cute! I love that! There are moments where it really shows that it's a Japanese game. Sasazuka's route especially bugs me at times. Ichika, where did your police training go, right? Right? Like, where in the world did it go? Like, she has it on her. She could have. But I also understand it not wanting to be, like, her not wanting that to be her initial go-to reaction. Even if you're not a cop, if you have a gun with you and someone is actively strangling you, at that point, legal questions or questions of affiliation don't matter. Protect your life, people. You've only got the one. This is true. That is a very good point. There's a way you can make the horse a unicorn too? That's so cool. I need to go home. I shook off the slight feeling of nostalgia and started on my way home. As I arrived at the apartment, I happened to cross paths with Kazuki, who was apparently just on his way out. I arched my brow and glared at Kazuki. And where do you think you're going at this time? Oh, and where are you going at this time? Ooh, 4 horse presets? And the 3 bonus special horses? That is so cool! You're staying over 2 nights in a row during the week? That's going to burden his family a lot. And where's your uniform? Are you trying to skip school on top of that? Then Kazuki shot me a fed-up look.
2日連続で事件起きたからって休校になった。秋田の家なら平気。親仕事でいないし。
But even so...
お前、明日非番って言ってたじゃん。一日中一緒にいるのうんざりするし。
That's rude, Kazuki. You can't wait, your favorite's gonna be the unicorn and Oreo? That is so cool! I can't wait to see what they look like! Kazuki?
もういいからほっとけよ。都合のいい時だけ姉貴面すんな。
Ooh, there you go! I like that idea! Hey, Kazuki! I reacted by reaching out my hand at him, but he brushed it aside and ran off. Amethyst! Hello, hello! How are you today? I hope you're doing well. What do you have planned for today? Convenient for me. I wondered why our relationship had deteriorated to this state. I'm just worried. After I stood in that spot for a while, I let out a deep sigh. After I arrived at the front of the agency, Okazaki called out to me, and I greeted him while I kept my guard up. Okazaki, you look like you're working hard.
そっか、今日は非番なんだね。また依頼の相談?
Something like that. And you, Okazaki? Guard duty must be tough in this cold. Working till 4 today, and then you and Craig are going to a drive-in movie? That's so cool! We used to have a drive-in theater in town, and it unfortunately closed, I love the concept of a drive-in theater. That is so cool to me. What movie are you guys gonna see? Our conversation gave me mild chills. We both knew why each of us were really here.
今はね、俺の後輩くんが朝ごはん買ってきてくれるのを待ってたところなんだよ。張り込みの定番は牛乳とアンパンだって。ドラマの見過ぎだと思わない？先輩が今はそれしか食べたくない気分って言ったんじゃないですか。
A man with a convenience store bag seemed to be protesting Okazaki's description of events. I assumed this was his subordinate.
吉成くん、嘘はいけないよ。
Hello, Yoshinari.
あ、この人もしかして。どうも、俺、吉成秀明っす。岡崎先輩のパシリみたいなもんっすね。
Hello. I mean, they also gave untrained civilians firearms to use in self-defense if required. Cop or not, the incident at the park would certainly qualify, but that's what I mean about it being a Japanese game. At times you can kind of see their thoughts and attitudes towards guns, even in cases of self-defense. Yeah, that is a good point. That is a very good point. Raiders of the Lost Ark! That is probably my second favorite of the Indiana Jones. My personal favorite is the Last Crusade, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is a very, very close second. I love that movie so much. I noticed that he was also wearing an SP badge. Not one, but 2 SPs were keeping watch on the agency. That's pretty heavy security. Or pretty heavy scrutiny.
吉成くんのせいで どんどん俺が誤解されてく。
Yeah, and with Ichika's goal and Sasazuka's route being to reinstate the ban, it particularly shows up in this one. Yeah, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense, because that wouldn't be her go-to, assuming that if she wants to reinstate the ban and make it where only those that are trained and, cops and things like that have guns, then it makes sense that that would not be her go-to.
真実っすから。岡崎先輩アンパンのメーカーまで指定したじゃないですか。
はい、黙る。ごめんね、いちかちゃん。彼のことは気にしなくていいから。中へどうぞ。
I ignored the cries of the subordinate Kun, who was still reacting to Okazaki pounding his head, and Okazaki extended his arm to escort me. I really don't understand this person. Alright, if you'll excuse me. Right? It was a series of things that could have and should have been handled better. Especially considering the fact that clearly she's done this before, because her roommate, brother, classmate, something like that, whoever that guy was, it's one of those things, like, clearly this person needed psychiatric help and did not get it, and that is the result. A gravely unfortunate series of human error, exactly. I'm doing well, Amethyst. How are you? I've got D&D this afternoon, so I'm excited for that. We're going to be ending here in about 20-ish minutes. And then I'm going to get lunch and get ready to go to D&D. And then after that, it's kind of just a chill night at home. True that, especially when it comes to police, the attitudes are just different, which I understand, but still. Also, you're a big advocate for everyone getting trained on gun safety and how to use one. Even if someone's personally not interested in using another firearm ever, everyone needs to be trained. That's totally fair, because Second Amendment, You're doing okay, you're on lunch at work, time seems to be going by so slow. I feel that. Sometimes the 10-hour days just feel like they go forever. But then when I get to chat with my coworkers, they fly by, and then they kind of ebb and flow in terms of speed, depending on how many requests I get. Do I get to chat with my coworkers? Things like that. So I totally understand. What are you having for lunch? I knew I had to keep my distance, but I also didn't think that I hated them. Good morning. Where's Sasazuka?
知るかよ。
You're working 10 hours also? Ugh, too old for this. Yeah. The good thing about the 10-hour days is that I get Fridays off. So I can do Monday through Thursday, 10 hours a day each. And then I get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And so that really works well, because I have a day during the week to get stuff done. And then I have the weekend. What?
Enomoto.
Only Yanagi and Enomoto were in the agency. Yanagi looked appalled and Enomoto sullen. What's wrong?
ああ、さっきちょっとやり合ったな。笹塚なら屋上にいる。
ちょっとあれがちょっとかよ。柳先輩も聞きましたよね、あいつの暴言。
お前が余計なちょっかいをかけるからだ。
That's why that bad ending irks you so much. Ichika is well trained and known for her marksmanship. She's young and inexperienced, sure, but that bad ending makes her seem far more incompetent than she actually is. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it's like, why, Ichika? Why? Why would you not do anything in self-defense? Oh, ravioli is so good. Are we talking the Chef Boyardee ravioli? Because that is amazing. That is amazing ravioli. I feel like I kind of eat like a kid too. My palate's expanding, but I do enjoy ravioli, chicken tenders, pasta, you know, pretty much any pasta dish and any, like, most chicken dishes I can handle too.
悪いな。
Chef Boyardee ravioli. I love it. I love it. Oh, and SpaghettiOs. Love me some SpaghettiOs, especially with meatballs. Yeah, I think there was a way that they could have written it that would have resulted in her death without dumbing down her character. That is a very good point. That is a very good point. They could have. Like, they could have easily made it where there wasn't necessarily a trigger time, but it could have been like a case where they draw faster than she does, kind of a thing, you know? Like, she realizes she's putting together everything that's going on, realizes there's a weapon, he just draws it faster than she does, and unfortunately it ends in her demise, you know? Like, it could have easily been that way. Or maybe she realizes the situation she's in, there's like a tussle on the ground, and it ends up being an accidental thing, you know? Like, there could have been so many different ways that they could have done that. Sorry. Enomoto was completely sulking and wouldn't even try to look this way. Yanagi sent me on my way with an uncomfortable smile, and I headed towards the rooftop. Oh, there he is. Sasazuka was sitting on the rooftop, clad in a coat and working on his laptop in this chilly weather. Sasazuka?
ちょっと待ってろ。
Again, the idea of police in Japan is just different than the US. Police forces elsewhere don't have to worry as much about the other side having guns, and so are more quick to just chat or reach for a taser even, instead of just going lethal. That's valid, because even in Europe, that's the way that it is. There's only a certain level of police that you even see with the higher powered guns. Everybody else has more taser level, from my understanding. Maybe he was trying to reach a good stopping point, but Sasazuka glared at me for a nanosecond and returned to his screen. I don't really mind waiting, but isn't Sasazuka cold out here? I continued to wait patiently as I listened to the sound of his nimble fingers tap the keys, and as I rubbed my hands together to keep warm.
De?
After a while, he apparently had found a good stopping point and finally turned around. It's about the test?
それ以外に何があるんだよ。さっさと答えろ。
Sasazuka wanted the facts up front. I still wasn't used to his direct style, but I thought I could adapt to it gradually. As I thought, I took a short breath and responded. I think it's a substitute killing. Not to say the other side never has guns, even in Europe or Japan, etc. It's just more difficult to get them, which I'm also down with. So long as you let me privately own some guns, I'm on board. Fair, fair. I guess I'm just... It's one of those things where I'm like, no matter what we put in place, the bad guys will find a way to get a gun. They'll find their way around any laws that we put in place. And so, not to get too political or anything, just that's my 2 cents. But and in the context of this game, the situation changed so drastically almost overnight. Exactly, yeah. But you are right. I definitely agree it should be harder for people to get them. But I also think that there needs to be, it needs to be a balance where we still have that Second Amendment right, but at the same time it's harder for those that shouldn't have guns to get them, and it's hard to find that balance when the bad guys are going to find a way to get it. You know what I mean? Hey, how's it going, West? Hope you're doing well. Sasazuka's mouth formed a smile.
You.
Commonalities kept arising. The August case and the recent shooting are both tied to online gamers. The July case and the arson murder are linked by a common thread of stalking. That is a very valid answer there, West. I definitely can see making sure that a good chunk are accidental. That is true. So making sure we're trained in gun safety is also very, very important. I definitely agree there. Furthermore, the person of interest brought in yesterday was a previous suspect, but he was released because of his alibi. Excuse me, but he didn't have an alibi this time. They had to have a reason to pull suspects from past cases, though. I checked to see Sasazuka's reaction thus far. He nodded at me to keep going. Definitely a political topic, and I understand people aren't going to fully agree on this, which is good. We need to have this conversation constantly, and I think that's a healthy thing. It's an important topic. Exactly, I agree. And that's what people like Charlie Kirk want, is to make it more normal to have these conversations and have the ability to agree to disagree, have these healthy discussions and debates without it ending friendships, without it ending in, a shouting match. But also, we all agree that we want people to be well informed. We want people to understand why they believe what they believe. We want to make sure that they're not just believing because they heard it through the grapevine, We want to make sure people are doing their research, Yeah, I agree with you there, West. I definitely agree. They're chill, but the gun nuts scare me. Yeah, that's totally valid. That's totally valid. Normally, with cases this similar, you'd hunt for one suspect who committed all the crimes. But if their alibi still holds for one case, they can't have committed all the crimes. However, because these are X-Day cases, I didn't initially realize that they are all being done by the same culprit. These cases do have a single party who has a motive, and that is Adonis. These crimes are all performed by one organization. If the crimes are plotted on an organizational level, you can still commit the crimes you want while shielding your likely suspects. Yeah, that's very true, Wes. There's a difference between I like having a few hunting rifles and, oh man, I can't wait for someone to give me a reason, Exactly. There's a difference between, hey, I have these because I want to be safe just in case something happens. And then, or, like you were saying, I enjoy going hunting, things like that. Like protection and hunting, things like that, those are valid. But to be like, oh man, I have this because I cannot wait for someone to give me a reason, those are very different. Very, very different. I agree. So that's why I think that what we're seeing is the result of Adonis carrying out substitution murders. I held my breath and waited for a response. He seems happy. He gave me a bemused response.
正直全く期待してなかったけど、バカはバカでも使えるバカだったらしいな。
Your suspiciously employed martial arts instructor sounds like a very wise man. I just made a connection between Sasazuka and Javert from Les Mis. They're both very black and white thinkers. And they do not seem to think that people can change and grow. At least not at this point.
75点。
75 points. Huh?
爪が甘いって言ってんだよ。お前の論理にはまだ穴がある。ま、バカ猫なりに頭ひねって考えたとこは評価してやるけどな。
Sasazuka grinned. I relaxed and I felt all the tension in my body release, and I nearly crumbled. Oh. He was a trainer for their version of Navy SEALs. Interesting. Possibly working for the Filipino CIA. Wow. That is a cool martial arts instructor. I like it. A guy with a great sense of humor who knows all this stuff. That is a great balance. I am going to go ahead and snooze these ads. We have a few minutes. I'm going to try in the next few minutes to get the I'm going to try and get to a good stopping point in the next 5 minutes, but we'll see what we can do. Oh, no worries at all, Soul. No worries at all. No worries at all. I totally agree. There we go. Relief, accomplishment, joy, and a little bit of another certain feeling. I breathed in, and then I found the energy to say the words I'd longed to say. Stop calling me an idiot all the time! I thought hard to figure this out. I've never investigated before, so I didn't know what I was doing, but even still, I wanted to complete this task no matter what. I wanted to be recognized. I know I'm not the best. I know I fall short. But I gave it my all, and I did it. So, give me credit and stop calling me an idiot. I was finally able to let it all out. Feeling half exhilarated and half scared, I was completely unprepared for the words that Sasazuka said next.
何キレてんだよ。せっかく褒めてやったのに。
You can never get any on him? Any bruises on him? Like, biblically, you consider killing in self-defense to be murder, and you adjusted your thought process related to that accordingly. That's fair. That's totally fair. In fact, that's a lot of why, as much as I wanted to possibly join the military, a lot of what stopped me was I didn't know if I could pull the trigger. Granted, my health has made it where I couldn't join the military, but I really didn't know if I could. And there are a lot of soldiers who struggle with that exact same thought process. Back to work for you. I hope you have the best work day ever. Finish strong, Amethyst. Love you so much, my friend. Right? The way she stands up for herself here almost makes up for her ineptitude in the bad ending. How is that praise?
使えるって言ってやっただろ。
No, you didn't. You said I was a useful idiot. You can't just ignore the idiot part of that.
細かい。
Socking him in the face right then and there. Because this is important to me.
うるせえバカ猫。調子に乗ってんじゃねえ。
Yeah, I got that one from your dad. If someone pulls a knife and asks for my wallet, I'ma just give them the money, for sure. The math changes if my wife or sister is present. Yeah, that's totally fair. I think for me, no matter the situation, I would still give the money because that seems to be the safest option. I should look up Desmond Doss. I will definitely make a note of that. Go ahead and message that to me so I don't forget. There you go again.
俺よりバカなうちは諦めろ。
Yeah, at least the end isn't canon, so that helps me let go of it a little. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Pacifist Medal of Honor winner. That totally makes sense. Yay, we upped our trust level! What the heck? This deplorable man was just bursting with pompousness, arrogance, and rudeness. I wondered how long it would take for him to truly acknowledge me. Still, he's very skilled, and I can really use him as an ally right now. That was how I ultimately felt about it. Sasazuka exhaled lightly and looked at me again and spoke.
でもまあ、合格は合格だ。一応最低限のところまでは掴んできたからな。
What a relief! Why are you laughing?
尻尾振ってんのが見えて。
Huh?
お前猫ってよりは犬かもな。わかりやすすぎ。よかったな、バカ犬。
Dog? I've heard that one gets really intense. Look, you're being really rude. As I started to protest... Huh? He's giving us a donut! Sasazuka cut off my protest by extending a donut towards me.
Yeah.
It's okay, Soul. I can be too. I was taken aback for a second, but then I quickly saw his true intentions. Is this supposed to be my chow?
褒美だよ、褒美。
Oh, so you are treating me like a
う
dog.
るせえの、黙って食え。この俺が誰にでもドーナツをくれてやると思うな。むしろ光栄に思うとこだろ。
He insisted, and so I eventually relented and begrudgingly accepted his donut. It's sweet. After I took a bite of the donut, its sweetness untangled my tongue. Whether or not he was treating me like a dog, I started to reluctantly accept it. He sort of recognized me after all. Now I could finally pursue the case as Sasazuka's partner.
なあにボケた顔してんだ、バカ。
Huh? His rudely shocking words made me choke. As I sputtered and coughed, Sasazuka grinned at me and
言っ
said,
とくけど、お前の扱いはまだパートナーじゃねえぞ。ただの駒から少し使える駒になっただけだ。そこは勘違いすんな。
What?
当然だろう。俺らが簡単にたどり着けるレベルのテストに合格したくらいで調子に乗られても困る。ただしうまくやれたらまた褒美くらいはくれてやる。せいぜい働けよ、ポチ。
Obviously pleased with himself over his demeaning put-down, I had to lash out. I'm telling you to stop treating me like a dog. I bit into the donut while thinking about what a truly vile person he was, and Sasazuka closed his laptop and stood up.
そうと決まれば、とりあえず下行くぞ。メンツも揃ってるし、ここまでの報告会だ。
Okay.
お前、その PC 持ってこい。
He picked up the bag of donuts, took one out, and bit into it. You must really like sweet things. Perhaps he saw in my face that I thought that aspect was cute. Sasazuka glowered at me.
好きで悪いのか。
He harumphed through his nostrils and quickly left the rooftop. Hold on! I had no idea why he got so chuffed by that utterly tame comment. I cleaned the table and chased after him with the computer. Jeez, what a thin-skinned, pompous jerk. Still, it felt pretty good to be able to say that I'd taken my first step. The real investigation begins now. As the cold air brushed against my cheeks and with overflowing motivation and drive, I opened the door to downstairs. Alright, and that is where we are going to end for the week. End of chapter 1. Alright, let me do a save.
おかえり二人とも。
So that way we are good to go. I'm gonna set that down right there. Alright, you guys. Yes, definitely a good stopping place. We've made great progress with Sasazuka. We'll be back with this on Friday, and it's gonna be so much fun. I think we're gonna try and finish Sasazuka's route, then we'll take a break and play more Indiana Jones, and then we'll go into the next route. I think is what we might do. But I'm not 100% sure yet. You'd say it's nap time, but you still have things to do? Totally fair. Take a nap first. Naps are biblical. Naps are biblical. Alright, you guys. I'm gonna do our last snooze. Let's see who, first off, let's see who we might be able to raid to. Gotta mute that tab. You're redesigning your entire network? Yeah, take a nap first. Take a nap first. Yeah, things are definitely getting nuts in there. For sure. Yeah, I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and end. We're not gonna raid out today. We're just gonna go ahead and call it a day. I will see you guys on Friday. May you guys have the best week ever, and always remember, God loves you, and so do I. Bye!